Hello! Welcome to the Gideon and Agnes Pond House. This is the house that my wife and I built in 1856. I actually arrived here in 1834 with my older brother Samuel. We were missionaries to the Dakota Indians. We began our work up on Bede-Makaska because that's where Chief Cloudman had his village. But when he moved his village down here into the Minnesota River Valley in 1839, my brother and I followed him here. We built a cabin, and then later on, my wife Agnes and I built this house in 1856. But in order to really give you the right tour of our house, we need to begin at the Preemption House, which is just down the hill here. So follow me and we'll give you a tour of the house. Here we are at the Preemption House. My wife and I built this house in 1852 in order to preempt this land so that when it became available for sale, we would have first choice in purchasing it. And eventually we did. We purchased 160 acres here and had a farm. Well, this part of the house that it was built first was actually only used as a summer kitchen to begin with because we were still living in the cabin that we had built overlooking the Minnesota River Valley. Come on in and I'll show you the Preemption House. Here we are in the Preemption House. As I said, this part of the house was actually built first to preempt this land. This part of the house was used as a summer kitchen by our family. This is where our family had a large table for our large family to sit around. Mrs. Pond cooked our food over the fire in the fireplace. She also had an oven to bake our bread. And over here was a pantry to store our food. And even a pump to bring water into the kitchen. This was a very modern kitchen for 1852. From the Preemption House, we come up here into the brick house that we built in 1856. And this is our sitting room. This is where our family would gather in the evening after all of our chores were done on the farm. Over here we have a portrait of my wife Agnes and I when we were married in 1854. And here is a chair that was given to me as a gift when I retired as the founding pastor of Oak Grove Presbyterian Church, which is right here in Bloomington. My brother Noah, who was a clockmaker, gave this clock to our family. And under it is an apothecary scale that our family would use to weigh medicine, which was in powder form. We had to pretty much take care of ourselves. There were very few doctors here at the time. And over here is a cabinet that I made for our family. If you wanted something on the frontier, you pretty much had to make it yourself. From the sitting room, we move into the parlor. You'll see these curved doors that we added many years later because our family was having a wedding. We wanted to open up these rooms for a larger group. But originally, this was a wall that would separate the sitting room from the parlor. The parlor is where we kept our finest furniture, and children were not allowed in the parlor except on Sundays and special occasions. One of the pieces that we loved in our home was the pump organ. Our family translated hymns into Dakota and wrote hymns ourselves, so it was very, very special for us to have an organ in our home. From the parlor, we're going to move into the front entryway. And we'll go into my study. This is where I studied. This is the desk that I used. And this is where I wrote my sermons, I wrote journals, and many letters. This is also where we kept our books. I built this case for our family, and this is 5 generations of the Pond family's books. From the study, we're going to move into my office. We're now in my office. This is where I would meet with church members, members of the Dakota community, local politicians. But as you can see, my wife has turned this room into her sewing room. My wife was very busy as a mother and wife, She spun her own yarn and thread, wove it into cloth, and then sewed clothing for our 16 children. Coming upstairs, we find our 4 bedrooms. There were 2 bedrooms for our 9 girls, 1 bedroom for our 7 boys, and then a bedroom for Agnes and myself. This was the bedroom that Agnes and I shared together. All of the furniture in this room was here when Agnes and I lived in the house. But there's one room that's missing in our home. It's the bathroom. We had an outhouse outside, but in the middle of the night, especially if it was storming out, you would use the chamber pot. In our bedroom, we also had a crib. With 16 children, it was a valuable piece of furniture for our family. We've had a tour of the inside of the pond house, but there are also some interesting features on the outside of the house. For instance, my children carved their initials into the bricks of our house. If you come for a tour of the pond house, I hope you'll also enjoy the beautiful vistas and the historical interpretive signs that we have up in the park. I would be very happy to welcome you here to the house. You can find out more information about the Gideon and Agnes Pond House on the City of Bloomington's website. I look forward to giving you a tour of our home.